All right, Bethany, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about how children are, of course, a blessing from the Lord, and parenting is a big blessing and a big responsibility. But is it normal or even okay to miss your life before you had kids?
Ooh.
We'll be unpacking that on today's Hopecast. It's coming up right now.
Hey, we're Steve and Bethany, a former radio team turned podcasters.
We're passionate about learning and sharing ways of putting the words of Jesus into practice in real life.
Here we go.
All right, welcome in, Hope Dealers from all across the world. We are glad you're here. First of all, let's start with some good news before we get into our topic today. 1,000 downloads in 1 month.
Well, that's so incredible and mind-blowing.
It really is to think about. We started this just over a year ago, and 1,000 downloads in a month would have been like 1 million when we first started. And we are so thankful. So thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for being a part of the family. We can't say thank you enough.
Thankful, yes.
Absolutely. Such cool stuff. So we're really excited about that. We won't know, obviously, the final number until after today, because when we're taping this on the last day of the month. And but anyway, we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're going to get to join us for what's going to be an interesting topic. We're going to get into it here in just a couple of minutes. But I know that you just got back from Waco. We talked about this last week. We were heading in to go pay homage to the silos with you and your other white girlfriends.
Yeah, my mother and my sister-in-law.
There you go.
Yep.
So how did it go? What did you learn?
It was awesome. It was super fun. So for Christmas this past year, my mom gifted us a trip to Waco. So she said it's going to be a girls' weekend. We're going to go to Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines, all this stuff. And so, it was my mom and my sister-in-law and myself, and it was so much fun. We had such an incredible time. It was really, really interesting because I was kind of anticipating that it would be a little underwhelming. Like, people had told me beforehand, people that had gone had said, well, kind of manage your expectations. Like, it's cool, but it's not amazing. It's all right, you know? So I went into it with, like, this probably won't be as great as I think it's going to be. It really surpassed all of my expectations.
Really?
It was so much fun. Granted, they've built on a lot to it in the past year. They've added a bunch of new shops, and they added a coffee shop and some other things to do, added some new food trucks and things like that. So there was more to it than I think the people that I had talked to when they went. But it was a really fun time. And I was surprised, too, that it wasn't as, like, girly as I thought it would be. Like, I was walking around, and granted, there were by far more women there than men, but, like, I was walking around thinking, I could take Cody here, and I think he would not be miserable. Like, it would be fun, you know? Yeah. And I was surprised by that, because I really thought this is going to be, like, Ladyland. It's going to be so girly. It's going to be a great girls trip, but the guys would never want to come. And all of us said we could all bring our spouse here. Like, this would be something that they would enjoy.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I've been there.
It's not that bad. There's some things for them to do. There's a big, like, wiffle ball field.
Sure.
And so when we walked past, it was literally dads and sons, and then you could see the moms with shopping bags, like, walking across the lawn. So there's things for them to do and things to keep them occupied. So it was a super fun trip. It was great.
That has to be Chip's influence.
Oh, 100%.
To be able to say, okay, look, this is going to be girly land. We got to put wiffle ball.
There's going to be some guys that have gotten dragged here.
So see him saying, we got to put wiffle ball. You know, him like that being a deal breaker on this deal. Yeah.
And there's there's like a men's store that they've added. So it's got some of Chip's favorite things. So it's got, you know, footballs and basketballs and different books that he likes and different, like, beard kits and leather goods and kind of just man stuff.
Might as well say testosterone.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
So it was a cool trip. We had a great time. Ate our weight in biscuits, and it was a great decision.
Well, that was the two questions I had. Did you get into the restaurant?
We did.
Very good.
It worked out really well. It was raining the whole weekend we were there, which did not ruin it. It was nice. I guess this is kind of how Texas rolls. It rained, and then it was sunny, and then it rained, and then it was sunny. And so we dealt with that all weekend, but that did kind of keep the crowds a little bit more at bay. When we got to Magnolia Table, the main restaurant, it was an hour wait. You can't get a reservation. They take reservations a month out, and my mom tried a month out to get in, and they were already booked up. So we just put our name on the list and waited, and it was an hour wait. So we got there and put our name in, and then went to a coffee shop, hung out just at a different place for a while, and then came back. And it was great. It was just super good food. The service was great. It was really, really a fun time. So it was a great girls trip. We want to go back.
Did you sit in the big oversized swing? Did you swing in it?
I didn't see the swings.
What?
I didn't see them.
There was when I went. Now, granted, it's been
At
a couple
Magnolia
years.
Table or
No, at the outside,
silos?
at the silos.
I didn't see them.
There was a giant oversized porch swing that could fit like, I don't know, 3-4 people.
Where was it?
Just, I don't know. It was just out in the middle of the courtyard.
I didn't see that. Maybe I missed it, but I did not see it.
Oh, well, that was fun. We swung on the swing. It was fun.
I should have done that. I didn't see it though. I don't know if they like rearranged some things, and
Well,
so
maybe they
kind
did.
of, I don't know.
You said they're doing a lot of renovations, so.
Yeah, well, they finished with the renovations. But yeah, it's the layout has changed from how it was, so maybe they got rid of the swings.
Oh,
don't
I
know.
hope not. That was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed
I didn't see
that.
him though. I wish I would have now.
Well, I know. But it sounds like you had a good time, and it
I
was
did.
fun. I know hanging out with your mom and
Oh
your
yeah,
sister-in-law.
it was super fun.
Because they're both cool people. I really like both
They're
of
the
them
best.
a lot. So while you've been gone, now we have TJ back in here
Mm-hmm.
after Caleb has taken a break for whatever reason. He, I guess, having Memorial Day
It's a
plans or
Memorial Day
something.
weekend.
So,
probably at the lake. I would
and
guess.
I'm kind of glad that TJ is here and he's got his microphone on because I'm concerned about TJ and his
Why?
marriage.
And his marriage. TJ.
Yes, because okay.
Why are you concerned?
Okay, go ahead, TJ.
I was just as shocked to see my name on the show notes for today.
I did see the show notes, and I thought TJ's marriage, and I was like, this could either be really good or really bad, but either way, Steve's involved.
Wait,
so this is scary.
It's kind of scary. I'm kind of a little nervous, a little concerned about it because, okay, look, first of all, let me just tell you that TJ, or it's called MK and TJ Travels. What's the name of the video series?
It's just called MK and TJ, and we call it our 50 States tour.
Look, it is amazing. If
Yeah.
you are into camping at all, you've
Super
got to
cool.
watch this on YouTube. It's a series. Just search for MK and TJ. The video, TJ, look, we got to give him credit. He is an amazing videographer.
Mm-hmm.
It is so professionally done. You're not going to see it better on a travel channel or anything. It's so well done. Okay, but they just released a video not terribly long ago, and the video was titled "TJ's Birthday Trip." Okay,
I didn't watch that one.
this one is only 5 or 7 minutes long.
Okay.
But MK decided that for TJ's birthday, she's going to take him to spend the night in a small house, like one of those
Oh.
200 square foot
That
houses.
sounds like fun.
Was there not a building she could push you out of?
What are you
kind of
talking
birthday?
about? That's
What kind
fun.
of birthday present is that?
It's a tiny house. That's cool.
I thought it was great.
Well, the video was phenomenal. It was really a good video, but I'm thinking, why that?
You think
for,
that's a terrible birthday present?
well, I just don't know. I'm
You're-
kind of
no,
concerned,
but
TJ.
Steve, remember this, Steve. You and TJ are different people.
We are different people.
So what you want for your birthday is not what TJ wants for his birthday.
But
I
spending
feel like
the
I'm
night
like a
in a house.
therapist. Can we get a couch laid out so you can lay down and talk about these feelings?
I like MK. I've only met her like one
Mary
time. But
Catherine's great.
She seems like a sweetheart of a person.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't for the life of me understand why she would say, I know, a small house.
Okay, I think it's fun.
Well, okay.
I think it's a cute idea.
Well, yeah, but
I've-
you can't really turn around in that place without
Yes,
banging your
you
shins.
can. How many square feet was it, TJ?
Like 200.
Yeah, it was like between 200 and 400 square feet. It had a
Oh,
loft.
okay.
It was pretty cool.
Okay.
I thought it was great. And
You open the oven door and it blocks the entire walkway.
Oh my word! It's a sardine can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, okay, I guess if you've just got to spend one night in it, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of concerned. I was just like,
Where was said tiny house?
it was in Garland, Texas.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
a lot to do down there.
Well, I'm from
There's
that
not
area.
a lot to do in the house.
Yeah.
You can't do anything in the house.
We
You
didn't
can
spend a lot of
turn.
time in the house.
You can turn about a quarter of an
You
inch.
can lift up your hand slightly, and that's it.
So anyway, I watched that and I thought, my gosh, this she trying to tell TJ something?
Yeah. You were concerned. Do you even know each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, kind of like that.
Okay.
Did you jump into this a little too early?
Here's the thing.
That's all.
I've brought
I'm
up.
kidding, TJ. I'm kidding, MK.
I've brought up the tiny house thing before to Cody, and I've
Oh
been
my
like,
gosh,
"Would you
Tony's
wanna say that-"
freakishly tall.
This
He
is
would
the-
never be able to do it.
That's what he said. He was like, "I'm 6'5". I can't fit.
Yeah, no.
That's not meant
That
for
would-
me."
No.
He said he's like, it's meant for the more small sized person like you. You would
Yes.
thrive in that environment. But he said, I'm too tall. I can't do it. So
So-
he shot me down.
Yeah,
but that's
well-
why I haven't done it. TJ loved it.
I think you should do it at least once.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
we
That way you can either come out of it saying, I hated it. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
Or I loved it. We're going to buy one next week.
I think it would be fun. Like, I really do want to try it. You say you wouldn't even want to try a tiny house.
I don't
you wouldn't
think
want to.
so. I mean, that
Really?
just doesn't sound. I mean, I don't know. I never understood the appeal of a tiny. We don't have any room, so let's go and cram ourselves
Well,
into it.
you know, my aunt and uncle live in a tiny house. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they sold they want to build a legit house someday, but until then, they're just kind of trying to I don't know, live life in a different way for a little bit. And
Yeah.
so they wanted to experience what it would be like to live in a tiny house. So they built a tiny house, and they're living there until they build their actual house. Wow. And this is the thing, though. My uncle is 6'3", and he's doing okay in there. So they've made it work, but they truly are like minimalists now. They don't own
You
anything.
have to be.
Well, that's the thing. They got rid of so much stuff, and then they just have the rest in storage that they couldn't fit. They have only the essentials in the tiny house, and it's like changed their perspective a little bit on how they think about stuff. So I think it would be a cool, like, I don't know, just a complete lifestyle change.
It would be that for
That would
sure.
be fun.
No doubt. So anyway,
I'm claustrophobic, though, so I don't think I can handle it. I don't know about that.
So anyway, I am halfway kidding, but I just want to make sure that everything is good with MK and TJ, right?
Yeah, everything's good. And it's kind of preparing us for things to come. I was talking to Bethany a little
true.
off air, and we're about to make a pretty big lifestyle change.
Oh, yeah?
and
Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Pretty major downsize. So it was preparing us for
Oh,
things
well,
to
okay.
come.
Well, now maybe that's what she was doing. Maybe she was like, okay, here we
They're-
go. We got to find out what this is like.
They're going to renovate a van to live in when they go on their travels.
That's
Because
not a bad
they like to
idea.
road trip together. So instead of worrying
Okay.
about campsites or anything like that, they're doing a van.
Yes.
I'm all about a van.
Which
I
I
would
think is-
much rather spend the
What are
night
you
in a
talking
van
about?
than in a
van?
small house. Come
a
on.
van is smaller. What are you talking about?
No, just no. Just
I
no.
don't, okay, I don't understand your train of logic. We got to move on.
Yeah, we got to move on before.
Bottom line is Steve desires van life. Jana, Steve's wife, needs to pay attention.
If that's the choices, or jumping out a building, I don't know. So anyway, so I'm glad everything is
We
good
got
with
that
TJ
figured
and
out.
MK. We got that figured out. Something else we want to touch on real fast is we've got a new Amazon channel kind of thing happening where we are going to be starting at the end of every episode making recommendations of things to tie in with the topic, maybe a book, maybe some music, maybe a video, whatever, just to kind of give you a little more extra sauce on your
just kind
on
of
your
if you want to take on the topic of the podcast and just kind of take it that next step.
So we're going to have in every episode moving forward a little link where you can purchase. Not every time purchase,
If
but
it's a book.
sometimes if it's a book or whatever, a little link that you can find in the show notes and at our website, stephenbethany.com. But we're excited. It's partnering with Amazon, so we're really looking forward to being able to kind of take the next step with you on that. Before we get into our main topic today, Bethany, you're going to tell us about Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon is a great way to stay involved and active in the podcast, especially if you've been listening for a while and you've been fans of the show and you're thinking, okay, how do I really increase my connection with the podcast and kind of make my voice heard? Patreon is a great way to do that. So all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Steve and Bethany, and you can join us. It's $5 a month or $15 a month. We have 2 tiers that work that way. Basically, you get the show ad-free. So if you were a Patreon member, you wouldn't be hearing this ad right now, ad-free. You also get it early. You get bonus content. You get just a lot of extra perks that all come with being a member of Patreon. So if you want to join us, again, it's patreon.com/Steve and Bethany.
All right, we'll insert that first ad right here, which, by the way, we don't have to do it today, but we'll refresh those ads
Okay.
at some point here in the next couple weeks. All right, so we'll bring it back. I'll do T's for Bibles, and then we'll talk about the topic. I'll tell T's for Bibles, and you just
Okay.
take it. All right, here we go. All right, before we get into today's topic, which I think is a very interesting one that you came up with, I want to tell you about T's for Bibles. This is a ministry partnership that we have gotten with Bible League International, where our merchandise sales go towards putting Bibles in the hands of people who don't have access to one. And that could be somebody in a prison here in America, or that could be somebody in remotest parts of Africa or in a communist country in their native language. And it's just something we wanted to try to do, to be able to make sure that this podcast really counts and really makes a difference. So we're asking you to go check it out at our website, stephenbethany.com. There's also a link in the show notes here where you can go and see all the different designs that we have, all the colors, all the styles to choose from. It's not just logo stuff. It's all kinds of different designs. So if you find one that you like, feel good in buying it because you're going to put a Bible in somebody's hands that desperately wants one around the world. So check it out. It's Tees for Bibles is what we call it. You can see all the details, again, at the show notes or just go to stephenbethany.com.
And Steve was right earlier saying that I did come up with this topic that we're going to be talking about today. But I think it's weird that I came up with this because I'm the one that doesn't have kids.
Right.
But I noticed on Instagram really is how I came up with this because there's been a trend lately on Instagram of moms posting pictures of their kids and then saying, I'll be honest, I love being a mom, I love my kids, but I really miss her. And they'll post pictures of themselves before they had kids. And they'll say, I miss my life before I was a mom. I miss having the freedom to kind of go and do whatever I wanted whenever I pleased and not being so constrained by children is basically the gist of the post. And it's kind of gone viral. I've seen a lot of people do it.
So let me just interrupt you just real quick. Is that mainly Christian people or is it just a mix of?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's just a mix of everybody. I haven't seen anybody that I follow post one. It's mostly popped up on like my For You page on Instagram. So I don't know where they stand on faith or anything like that. But yeah, I've just noticed that. And it kind of got me thinking because Cody and I have had this conversation probably a month and a half ago, maybe. We were having dinner one night and we were talking about kids and when we would want to start our family and all of that. And we both said we're at the point where obviously we really desire kids and we want kids, but we're also at this point of like, we're going to really have to change our life. I mean, it is changing your life. And it's kind of, we're walking through almost like a grieving process of our life is not going to look like it does right now. It's going to look different and it doesn't mean it's worse or better. It's just different. And we're going to have to sacrifice some of the freedom that we have now of being able to stay up as late as we want and go wherever we want and not have to think about, do we have a babysitter? Do we have to be home by so-and-so's nap time? Like, we don't have to think about that right now. And we had that conversation of, are we ready to give that up? You know, we do want kids at some point. Do we want them now? And I don't know. It's something that's kind of been bouncing around in my head because I thought, what if when I have kids, I feel that way? Of like, man, I wish I wouldn't have had kids right now. I wish I would have waited a year or two. Like, have you ever felt that way as a dad, or has your wife felt that way?
No, and in fact, I brought this up to my wife, Jana, yesterday. We started talking about it. We had a really long conversation about it. I think by the time we got married, we had gotten to the point before we got married that we had, kind of went through that whole phase of wanting to be single, whatever. And now we're together and we want to be together. We want to take the next step. And then I think after a few years of marriage, it was like, it's time. We just felt like it. And so, no, we have never had that regret. And I asked her specifically, I said, okay, now you stayed at home. It was your choice to stay home. And did you ever feel that way that, hey, you're giving up something because you're spending all your day at home with the little ones and you don't have adult conversations and the whole thing? And she said, no, not really. She said, maybe occasionally I would feel that way. But for the most part, I felt like that's what I wanted to be. I was ready to be a mom. I wanted to be a mom. And so nothing brought that joy to me like that did. And so, no, she said I had no regrets about it at all. But the first thing when you texted me that I thought of, because I'm this old, is a song Reba McEntire had out. Back, I don't know, maybe 20 years now, I guess, 15 years. And it's called Is There Life Out There? And I played it when it was new on the radio.
Yeah.
And that's what it's talking about. She married at such a young age and had kids and everything. And the hook of the song is she doesn't want to leave. She's just wondering if there's life out there. She has spent her whole, in your mind, you're thinking it's probably her 20s.
Yeah.
Being a wife, being a mom, but not being her own person. And just wondering if there's something more than what she's experiencing and everything. Yeah. And I think maybe that does happen sometimes to folks that do that as early, especially if they have to maybe stay at home or choose to stay at home. So I think that's out there. But I think for the most part, I think that when you start to think about that, my wife even said this, can be incredibly selfish. You know, you're bringing this life into the world, and if you're not ready for it, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, make sure you're ready for it. Don't just jump into it, because it is a big commitment, and it is
Right.
a big lifestyle change and everything. And I know my wife said probably the one thing that you ought to do first and foremost, if you're feeling that way, whether you feel like, I don't know, that maybe you are regretting, or maybe you do wish I could be more free or whatever, is the first thing my wife said was, take it to God. Take this to God and let him fulfill that desire. Because we've talked about this in so many different other areas of the podcast, or any on the podcast about other areas, that, you know, God is the one that can only fill stuff.
Right.
You know, and the longing or the desire or the freedom or whatever can be filled by him and him alone. Because when we try to do it ourselves, usually a lot of times it doesn't work.
Oh, well, and there's voids that we can experience no matter what life stage we're at, whether we have kids and we are missing the life that we had before we were a parent, or if we're single and longing for marriage, or maybe, you know, you're...
Or all the way to the other end, empty nesters.
Yeah, exactly, and wishing that you were back having little kids in your house and all of that. No matter where you're at, if you're feeling that void in your heart with anything other than Christ, if you're filling that with something that is temporary and honestly doesn't have any eternal impact, then you're doing it wrong. And obviously I say that, and I'm saying that as somebody that's not in that position of wishing that I could go back before kids or anything like that. But I do think that that's a place that everybody can find themselves at, and it's easier to say, oh, well, just, you know, spend more time in God's word and pray more and all of that, and kind of put a Band-Aid on something that really is a serious issue and you do need to bring to God. And it's not always easy. It's difficult. I think, kind of going back earlier to what you were talking about with your wife and everything, I think for me, like, the struggle that I have, and just to be transparent here, I love kids. I'm not super maternal. Like, my sister, for example, my sister is like a baby whisperer. She can handle any kid no matter what. They just kind of are drawn to her. I'm not really like that. I like kids. I like to give them back to their own parents.
Sure.
And even when I was in high school, you know, babysitting and things like that, it was fine, and it was a way for me to make money. I didn't just love it. And I think about when I would get home from a long babysitting job, you know, a few hours or whatever, half day or something, I would need to, like, talk to my mom, because I would say, I've been around children all day. I need to talk to you. Like, I need to have a grown-up conversation that's not in baby talk. And it was really a hard thing for me. And so it wasn't just something that I loved doing. And I've had that thought in my head of, I know that about myself. That's how my personality was like when I was in high school. Will that be any different when it's my own kid? You know, will I feel differently? Or will that just be something that I have to really put in the Lord's hands and trust that I'll have the strength to raise kids day in and day out and not just be getting through it, you know? Because that's not something that I want, obviously. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's just kind of a honest thing of where I'm at.
No, I think that's amazing, because I never would have pictured you like that. Now, I know you've talked about your sister in the same terms you just talked about her in, but I didn't know that you kind of felt that way.
Well, again, and it's like, it's when I was younger. I think, obviously, I feel very different about, like, my nephew, for example. For my nephew, to me, he's like mine almost. I just adore him. He's the best. But again, it's different. Obviously, I'm not his mom, so I don't feel like, oh, well, I know exactly how to calm him down, or I don't have that mom relationship with him. So I've always thought about that, of like, am I going to be able to do it, basically? Am I going to feel the way that I should feel? Or am I going to end up being like a lot of these moms on social media that post about it, of like, I missed my life before. Am I going to feel that way? Wow. Yeah, I've had that thought. I don't know.
I think that's just probably you getting in your head a little bit.
Probably.
But
I have the slight tendency to do that.
just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. But I understand those fears, and I can I don't know that I can relate to them as much as I empathize with them. I can hear what you're saying on that. But I just started to think about, well, what would you do if you are in that situation?
Yeah.
How would you be able to, or what could you do if you're in that situation where you feel like, okay, I'm feeling like I love these babies, they're my babies and everything, but boy, I wish it was a little different. The thing I would say, other than, first of all, putting it in God's hands, one of the things I think you may just need some time to yourself, because we all know how it is. We run around like crazy. All of us do, and then we have all the family commitments. We have our work commitments. We have, church, and we have all the other stuff that's ancillary around us. And I think a lot of times what happens is we as parents get to the point where I'm somebody's mom, I'm somebody's dad, I'm somebody's employee, I'm somebody's church member. I'm not a person. And look, you don't want to get it and go crazy overboard and be all selfish with it.
Right.
But there are certain times you've got to take time for yourself and to recharge your batteries. And maybe that means a spa day, or maybe that means just going window shopping. My wife used to do that. She would go if she was feeling kind of overwhelmed and feeling like, hey, the walls are closing in.
Yeah.
She would just, because we didn't have any money, but she would just go window shopping. She wouldn't buy anything, but she would just go through one of her favorite shoe stores,
I'll be honest, I might end up doing that, because there's even been times where if I had a rough day at work, or if I'm just feeling like, oh, I have so much on my plate right now and I'm stressed, I need to turn off my brain for about 20 minutes and I'll go walk the aisles of Target, and I don't buy anything, but I just walk and kind of just take a mental break a little bit. And obviously you can't live in that place because that's not healthy either, but taking a little bit of a time out, so to speak, of reality.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't have to be solo. Maybe you and your spouse can go take a date night. Maybe you need to increase those to just be able to have that adult conversation and have that interaction without the kids always there. Maybe that will help. And go ahead.
I was going to say something that my mom has always talked to us about, just as we got married and started talking about kids and all of that. My mom has always said two things. She said, first of all, there's going to be seasons of your life where it's just crazy. If you've got 3 kids that are under the age of 4, your life's going to look a little chaotic.
Oh my gosh.
And that's okay, because that's the life stage that you're at and the season that you're in, but it's not forever. It's a season. And so at some point, your kids are going to get a little older. They're going to become a little bit more self-sufficient. Your, commitment to a sport will come to an end as the season comes to an end, or so-and-so's dance class is going to take a break for the summer, or whatever. And you just kind of have to put your head down in some moments of life and just get through it, get through the crazy, and know that at some point it's going to slow down. And then also, she always said that for her and my dad, when they would go out on date nights, they would not talk about us. And that was a topic of conversation that was not allowed. Is we're not going to talk about the kids. We're not going to talk about basically mom and dad stuff. It's going to be you and me, our relationship, our marriage, what we need to work on. How are you doing? How's your life? Are you okay? Rather than getting kind of into the habit of putting all the focus on the kids and let's just talk about them some more. My mom was like, it sounds selfish, but you guys weren't the top priority. It's having to focus on our marriage first.
I love that. I think that is amazing advice. And the only other piece of advice that I might say happens to go along with that is the fact that something that you kind of touched on a minute ago is that it's a season. The kids are not going to be little forever. They're not going to be teenagers forever. They're going to go through life, and they're going to grow up faster than you realize. I mean, I can say this. I mean, it's hit me square in the face.
Well, you got a college student and you got a 7-year-old.
My oldest will be 20 years old.
That's crazy.
And I'm looking at, this is a grown man. This is not a kid. This is a grown man that calls me dad. That just doesn't compute. His life has gone crazy fast, and I'm so proud of him. But that's the thing I think we need to keep in mind if you're feeling like this, is the fact that it is a season, and it does go by so fast. You're going to wish back for these days at some point. So even in the crazy, try to see the bigger picture. Try to look and see, okay, they're only small once. They're only going to want to come crawl in bed with you, as aggravating as that can be for a short period of time. Yeah. They're only going to go through puberty a short period of time. They're only going to be in high school sports a short period of time. It's all bite-sized things. And when you look back, you're going to be like me, and you're going to go, wow, that 20 years went incredibly fast. And I don't feel any 20 years older. I don't feel like I should be the parent of a 20-year-old for crying out loud. But that's where you're going to find yourself. So I would just encourage you, when that walls start closing in addition to all the other stuff we're talking about, try to see the bigger picture. Okay, that was good. That was really good. All right, so let's. I did tease for Bibles in the front part of that. That was okay, whatever. That's all right. So we'll just come back out and.
I thought I might. What are we dropping in?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, something.
We'll just drop something.
I was going to say, I wanted to touch on the first point that she made in the article.
Okay, cool.
And just read a little segment from it that I thought it was good.
All right, here we go. Okay, as we get ready to close down this week's episode of Stephen Bethany's Hopecast, I came across this blog by a lady named Jen Oshman, and she had a great little column or blog called Do You Regret Having Children? We're going to put the link in the show notes and at stephenbethany.com for you to be able to see this article. She made a lot of good points.
She did. I skimmed through it right before we started recording, and I had read it before, and it was really cool to hear somebody that says like, oh yeah, people feel this way sometimes, because I think maybe for a mom that might be listening that's walked through this season of feeling like I missed my life before kids, you might feel isolated and think I'm a bad mom or a bad person for feeling this way. So I liked that she wrote about this to kind of bring some validity to like, yeah, sometimes people feel this way. But I thought the first point that she made in the blog post was really good. She said, regret is not unique to just parenthood. People regret taking jobs, getting married, and even going into ministry. But when we seek ultimate fulfillment in temporary roles and things, we're disappointed. While these things may provide indeed good gifts, they will never fully satisfy our hearts. It is in God alone that we find deep, lasting fulfillment, and Scripture tells us that. And then she listed several different Bible verses that talk about that. And I thought that was so good. You know, it's easy to rely too heavily on the title that we get from something. So whether it's wife, whether it's mom, whether it's director or president of, or, you know, CEO or something like that, it's easy to get all of our worth and our value from that. And then when that maybe season or that role in life gets difficult, or there's some struggle there, or you start to kind of not enjoy it as much, you think, well, this is my entire identity. So what am I supposed to do when I don't like this? Like, how do I even handle this? And I thought that just what she said, as simple as it is, you know, just to find your fulfillment and your identity solely in Christ, it's something that we can often forget to do. And so I just thought it was so good and so just encouraging to hear her say that, and to remind us that we can't find our fulfillment in those things that are so temporary.
Yeah, I found it very refreshing, too, when she started the blog post off, hey, it's okay
Yeah.
if you felt like this, because I felt like this,
We've
too.
all been there, yeah.
Yeah, it really is, because there's such comfort and assurance in, hey, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Because I think, I say this a lot, but I think that's what the enemy tries to do more than anything, is make you feel like you're the only one, you know, isolate you and everything. So again, it's called Do You Regret Having Children by Jen Oshman, and again, we'll link to it in the show notes and everything here at Stephen Bethany's Hopecast. I think we're about to wrap this one up.
I think so. I thought
time.
this was a good episode. I mean, even
so
though
too.
for me personally, I can't relate to this topic, I hope that for somebody listening, it did provide hope for them and encouragement for their heart. Whether you're a mom or a dad, either role that you're fulfilling right now, just that you find encouragement knowing that you're not in this alone. This is a season of life, and that ultimately your worth, your value is found in Jesus Christ and the relationship with Him.
Absolutely. We want to say thank you so much to Mr. MK over there, TJ Nichols from Blue Stream Media. We partner for the Stephen Bethany Hopecast with him. And again, he is an amazing videographer. The travel things that they do is so worth watching. I'm telling you, they're just so beautifully shot. He does an amazing job. You can see that. Just do a YouTube search for MK and TJ, and that'll pop up. But
we should just link the video down below in the show notes.
Well, let's do that. About the small house.
There we go.
Okay, let's do that. That'll be simple. We'll do that, and we thank him and Caleb Reese, who is normally in here, but he's can we have some more time off, Steve?
I don't think he said that. I think it was more like,
maybe.
TJ, can I go sit on the lake? Can I go tubing?
It's Memorial Day. Please.
Maybe he's doing that. I don't know. TJ, back us up on this. Either way, we do want to say thank you to them. They are the reason that the lights are on and the cameras are rolling right now. So if you have any audio visual needs for an event that you maybe have coming up or a church event that you have coming up, be sure to reach out to them. It's bluestreammedia.com, bluestreammedia.com. Be sure to give them a shout out.
And we also have that new Amazon hookup for you for a lot of these different resources that you can find at stephenbethany.com. If you want to go deeper into some of the topics that we talk about, you can find a list of the archives. You can see all and listen to all the archives of the show there. Got all our social media posts. Plus, if you'd like to leave us a 5-star review, you can do that from the website now. You don't have to go through Apple, which kind of makes it jumping through hoops. You can leave a review. You can leave a 5-star rating just with the click of a button. So that's really cool at the new website. So anything and everything Stephen Bethany is right there at stephenbethany.com.
Again, that's stephenbethany.com. We got anything else to say?
Good night, Olive Branch.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Nice.
I thought that was